What's up, citizens of Raccoon City? Nick Smith back here again, and as you can see, I'm rocking not only the hairstyle, but the Resident Evil 4 jacket. I figured, you know what, where we are getting a remake of Resident Evil 4 in the next couple months, I figured, why not? Let's actually spend this month talking about some Resident Evil. So if you all are ready, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 Resident Evil games. So if you're ready, let's talk Resident Evil. Okay, to start this off, number 5. The remake of Resident Evil 3. With the success of the remake of RE2, everyone figured, okay, a remake of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is imminent. But we were thinking this game wasn't going to come out for at least maybe 2 or 3 years. No, this game came out like a year to a year and a half later, and it feels like it was rushed. Because of like how it's a tad bit shorter, and from some people saying that they took some stuff out, I really feel like that if this game had taken a little bit longer to develop, this game would have been like a much more developed game and people wouldn't have felt like it was so rushed, because it feels like it's a quick playthrough. The fact of the matter is that Nemesis compared to Mr. X is not as scary. And the fact of the matter is, Nemesis in the original Resident Evil 3, from what I remember, he's supposed to just pop out at random times. Like, you have no idea when he's going to just all of a sudden just break through a wall or something, or all of a sudden you were going to hear him just go, "Stars." You had no idea when that was going to happen, versus with this, you can kind of tell when he's going to pop up. You'll be walking through and then like you'll see like this wall that looks like different colors, and then you're like, okay, that's weird, and then boom, just crashes through, and then you're running. It wasn't as intimidating with Mr. X. You had no idea what floor he was on. You had no idea where he was. All you knew was he was around, and that was terrifying. If this game had taken a little bit longer to progress, we would have gotten a much better game. However, I will say there are some upsides to it, like the fact if you go into a building that he can't go into, Nemesis will just walk towards the window and just stare at you and wait for you to leave. That, I will say, is a genius idea. But yeah, if they had just waited for this one to cook a little bit longer, this would have been a much more fleshed out game. But I like the city exploration, and I like the boss fights with Nemesis. The boss fights with Nemesis are pretty good, except the one in this stupid place like where you have to knock acid over him or something like that. I hated that. That one takes me so many times. But this game gives you a lot of replay value where you got challenges that you can do. The more zombies that you kill with pistols or shotguns or knives, or like, you know, you have like this list like that gives you more reasons to go and play through the story again to unlock everything. I'm already on my 3rd playthrough, but yeah, I enjoyed it, but it could have been better. Okay, so number 4 on this list for me is Resident Evil 4. Okay, hold on. Just hold on a second. Hold on, everybody. For goodness sake, hold on. Now, the reason why this is actually my number 4 on this list is because, well, I never played Resident Evil 4 that much. By the time I was actually able to play the Resident Evil games, I was playing like Resident Evil 5, the remake of the original Resident Evil, and the classics whenever I could. So I actually don't have much play value when it comes to this game. But being a Resident Evil fan, I have done the Resident Evil tradition, and I have at least 2 copies of the game. I have a copy for the PS2, and I have actually a virtual copy on my Nintendo Switch. So I have 2 copies of the game. But from just not being able to get my hands on it, and finally when I did, I was just like, I felt like it kind of passed me by. But I have a much better relationship with this game. I like it. The boss fights are very intense. The frickin' escorting with Ashley annoys the living crap out of me. That's actually the reason I didn't like this game, was the escorting missions with Ashley, because I always got killed, but that's also because I didn't know what I was doing, versus now I'll be just like, hey, either wait here, or hey, go hide in that thing, and then I'll take care of everything. It's like, okay, come on, let's go. I've only beaten this game once. I'm working on my 2nd playthrough, and I can understand why people like it. You know, it was the game that got everything going for Resident Evil. It was the pinnacle of what got people talking about this series. It changed everything. It was a massive game changer, from the over-the-camera mechanics to the quick time events, but they weren't like these, oh, if you don't do this, you know, nothing's gonna happen, to the boss fights. I love the boss fights in this game. Shoot, the only boss fight I have never actually tried is Krauser, and the only way I know how to beat him is with a rocket launcher. That's the only way I know how to beat this boss fight, because other than that, I die every single time. I have a mutual respect for this game. I enjoy it for what it is. I love Leon's dialogue of him cracking wise jokes and just being corny as heck. It was the early 2000s, so it makes sense. I'm wondering if we're going to get that in this remake. I'm really excited for the remake of Resident Evil 4. But yeah, I understand why it's a lot of people's favorites. Please don't have Alpha Omega Sin come and hunt me down for not liking this game, for not playing this game that much, and not having as much of a love for it as I do the other games, even though that would be awesome because I respect that man. But yeah, I enjoy Resident Evil 4, and let's continue with number 3. Okay, so my number 3, the remake of Resident Evil 2. When this game came out back in like 2018, I was so hyped. I remember seeing the trailers for it, and I was like, I cannot wait to get my hands on this game. I was a lifeguard back then, and I was waiting all the time like for a message saying, hey, no work today, and I would just like close the curtains, especially if like it was during a thunderstorm, I would just play this game, because I love this game. This is one of the most terrifying games I have ever played, and it never lets up. The fact of the matter is that even though they did cut some stuff, and I don't know what they cut, I didn't play the original that much. I played it all the way through like twice. I didn't really know like what they cut to really notice a difference, but whatever they cut, they added with the aspect of Mr. X. Holy crap. Just like what they did with Jack Baker in Resident Evil 7, Mr. X is horrifying. And the fact of the matter is, when I first seen the helicopter crash in the police department, I was like, okay, that's odd. So then, like, once I put the fire out and I'm like, okay, let's go see what's over there. I just like this hand just move this thing, and I'm like, is that a tyrant? Oh, he's coming after me. Oh no, we're gone. And I remember I got into the lobby. I was like, whew, that was terrifying. I wonder if I'll ever run into him. He just followed me in the lobby. Okay, I am not safe. Nope, go, 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 go. And that's the thing. You have no idea where he is. You can hear him walking around. You can hear him upstairs. You can hear him just everywhere. And you just don't know, okay, is he in this room? Is he going to find me? And it keeps you on your toes. And I adore it. I cannot tell you how many times I've been like, okay, let's hurry, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then like I hear the footsteps. I'm like, go, 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 come on, let's go. I adore this game so much. I don't know. The only thing I remember that they cut was the jump scare with the crows. I guess that they couldn't. I guess that would have been kind of annoying, like with the aiming system. The zombies are hard to put down. You have to be very accurate with your headshots, because if not, the zombies are just going to get up. You really need to make sure that the zombies are dead. Here's a hint. Don't shoot their heads. Go for their knees, and then shoot them in the head. Just a good tip. I love this game. I strongly recommend that you go put it. That is why it's on my number 3. It keeps terrifying me, and I can play it over and over again. A great remake. Okay, this might upset some people. My number 2 on my top 5 Resident Evil games list. Resident Evil 5. Now, I know probably a lot of people are getting ready to throw rocks through my window and come set my apartment on fire, but just hear me out. This was the first Resident Evil game I ever played, and I know a lot of people are thinking, oh my gosh, the version of Resident Evil 4 where it takes place in Africa. Yes, you can pretty much say that that's what this game is. It's basically Resident Evil 4 just with a hint of green, and it takes place in Africa. But like I said, this was the first Resident Evil game I ever played back on the Xbox 360. It was the first one I ever got my hands on, to getting to play as Chris Redfield, to figure out what happened after the mansion, to the co-op sometimes being broken, to the mini-bosses, just to the story itself. I really enjoyed this game, and the boss fights were pretty interesting too. Now, I do know that they did get rid of the merchant. Instead, they had it like this little tiny like hub screen thing, like where you could like get yourself ready before you started the mission. And, you know, you could also buy and sell stuff. So, you know, they did get rid of the merchant, but I didn't really mind it. Of course, though, sometimes it's not as fun when you have somebody standing there that you can just hit with your knife and he'll still come back. But I enjoyed Resident Evil 5 for what it was. It feels wrong playing it on PlayStation 4. It really does. I guess that's why I've had such an odd time playing it on the PS4, but I enjoyed it when I played it on the Xbox 360. Is it scary? No. The boss fights are fun, and even though this is a better game to play with a partner, because sometimes a co-op doesn't do what it's supposed to, it's still a fun game, and it is one of my favorite Resident Evil games. Even though it's not everyone's favorite, it's one of mine. Okay, are you ready? Number 1, For those who know me, this probably isn't going to be much of a shock. My number one is the remake of Resident Evil. I cannot tell you how many times I have played this game. The very first time I ever got it was on the Wii, and I just could not stop playing it. Yes, I was terrified. I didn't know what I was doing. When I seen it in a video store, yes, that's how old I am, because video stores were a thing, and I wish they would bring them back. I rented this on the Wii, and I was like, ooh, I think this is that GameCube game that I played back at a friend's house once. And I just didn't want to put it down, and one, was terrified. Two, I eventually bought it at Walmart back when they had the games like in like that tall display case. Gosh, I miss those times. But anyways, this game I could play over and over again, and I know what's going to happen, and it still scares me. Shoot, the very first time I ever played this game has Barry Allen in it, and none of the other games I've ever played have Barry Allen, which is very sad. Come on, why was Barry Allen not in the remake? Not Barry Allen, Barry Burton, not the Flash. Why was Barry Burton not in the remake of Resident Evil 3? Come on, Capcom. This game is a Jill sandwich, that is for sure. The very first time I ever played this game, when I played as Jill, you're in this one house. It's a guest house. And you see a guy wanted to prevent himself from becoming a zombie. He hung himself. So as I'm standing there hearing like this eerie music and this guy just swinging back and forth, I'm like, I'm going to go into another room and you're going to drop, aren't you? And I did, and that's exactly what happened. And then I played as Chris, and it never happened. And it scared me so much because like I was just so used to the body just falling and becoming a zombie, and so like I even like wasted like a couple bullets just trying to make sure that this thing never moved, and it just terrified me. I'd be like, just please drop so I can shoot you. What are you waiting for? This remake also introduced some really interesting aspects, mainly the fact of Lisa Trevor and the Lisa Trevor story. Such a tragic character being experimented on with so many different things of the virus to become this thing that just cannot die. No matter what you do, she just doesn't die. I really wish that they would have done more with her in the new Resident Evil movie that we got a year ago. But yeah, from Lisa Trevor to the Crimson Heads, which is a zombie that if you don't burn it or shoot its head off, their body will rot and they will get up and they will run after you. And it makes for a terrifying sound. If you don't have any kerosene in your little tiny thing, it's just a time clock. You're just counting down to when this thing's going to get up and run after you. I love the boss fights with Yaman. I hate the stupid shark fight. Even it's not really a fight, but I hate the shark because I would walk and sometimes like I would just get eaten, and sometimes like I have to figure out the pattern. I cannot tell you how many times I've played this game, from the fact of running down the hallway and seeing zombies like touch on the window and you're wondering, okay, they're going to come after me. No, they don't. I run down again, they're still there, nothing happens. I come in there and I'm like, oh, the zombies are gone, let's go. And then they broke through. It scared me to death. To the fact that they actually changed the jump scare with the dog in the long L-shaped hallway. In the original, if you go down this long L-shaped hallway, a dog will jump through the window. They changed it to where the dog attempts to. It jumps and it hits the window, and a little tiny piece of glass flies off. And nothing happens at first, but if you keep running, then they'll do it. They mixed things up to really make you be on your toes, and it doesn't skip a beat. I have beaten this game so many times, I eventually unlocked a mode where I have a zombie that has just grenades on it, and you can tell it's a different zombie. If the zombie touches you, you die. If you shoot it, you die. So basically, like, I'm just being like, okay, I'm good, let's go. And I'm not scared of it anymore, but at one point I was like, where are you? Now, I didn't know that this game actually has a couple different endings. Depending on, apparently, if you do something, I don't really remember, but sometimes, like, the mansion wouldn't explode. I'd be like, why didn't the mansion blow up? Why did the self-destruct not get activated? I can't remember what it is that you have to do, but yeah, that messed with me, because I was wondering, like, well, why isn't the mansion blowing up? What am I not doing? From saving Rebecca from the hunter so you can have her help you with the chemical stuff, to having Barry with you during the boss fight of Lisa Trevor, to exploring the entire mansion to the outside. They really made you feel like this place is extremely dangerous from the zombies, to the fact that the hunters will sometimes just like break through a door, or like you'll hear like a zombie like tapping on the door. There's no different variations of zombies, they're just like all regular zombies. The head turn of the original zombie, horrifying. the sounds that the zombies make, like when it's munching on your teammate's neck, it's just horrifying. But it doesn't skip a beat. I adore this game. And yes, I have multiple copies of this game. Half anyways. But guys, that is my top 5 favorite Resident Evil games. I want to know, what is your favorite Resident Evil games? I really want to know. Don't forget to put on your berets, search around the corners to look for the subscribe button. Guys, I cannot wait for the remake of Resident Evil 4. And stay tuned for the next video. Have a good day, guys.